And we should be live momentarily. Hello, everybody! It's tier listing time again.
Yay!
So yeah, we're doing it this week instead of at the end of the month because we're likely going to be busy next weekend, so either we're not going to be doing a stream, or we're going to be doing a stream because Victory Mars will be releasing. I've heard words down the grapevine that people are getting announcements of shipping notices, meaning ours from ToQger will likely not show up next week, but the week after. We'd originally planned it for that, but considering Halloween's coming up, we figured we won't really have time to stream next week just because everything. Even though our stream day will be November 1st, but that is neither here nor there. So, tier listing a week early on that. And it's to all the movie-exclusive mecha. Sentai movie mecha weren't a thing for a long time, mainly because Sentai movies weren't really a thing until the 90s. So we actually are starting off there basically with Go-Go 5 versus Gingaman, because it's the first time they really had any form of movie-exclusive mecha.
And let me tell you, folks, while this combination is actually really nice, in practice, since this was like a spur-of-the-moment thing, you can visibly see the Lights of Orion parts just hanging on for dear life on this thing.
Yeah, they're basically just strapped to the front of it, and we're really just starting it off immediately with Super Shine Armor Victory Mars as the first true movie-exclusive Sentai mecha.
Yep. Oh, before we begin, would you like to hear some jokes?
No.
When do kangaroos celebrate their birthdays?
No.
During a leap year. Why does lightning shock people? It doesn't know how to conduct itself.
So anyways, Starshine Armor Victory Mars. There's a reason there's an SMP being made of this, because it was that unexpected.
Yeah, and you gotta understand, like, this was back in the day when movie exclusives were not even an idea, were just a twinkle in Toei's eye. But for something so simple, it completely changes the aesthetic of Victory Mars, and it's pretty cool. You know?
I think it works because we haven't discussed Victory Mars as a final mech yet. That's going to be the next list, because it is the final mech of Go-Go 5. But anyways, it works so well to me because Victory Mars is a very slim final mecha.
Yeah, it's very different. Golden Garo, alright, who gave Lexi the joke book? Oh, I've always had it.
She always had it. We found it. She found it when we were going through her stuff to sort, condense, and organize.
You can blame this person for reminding me about it. Thank you. You've unleashed the puns upon the world.
I have flammable materials. Is that evil Gokaiger on there? That is a movie-exclusive evil Sentai mecha, not a movie-exclusive movie mecha. So, no, Black Gokaiger is not here because it's not a hero mecha.
But where are we putting this? Are we putting this in peak or hype?
I'm putting it in peak, because, like,
yeah.
that armor, honestly, I think works better for Victory Mars than it does on King-Ohger. Which is weird enough for all that. Now, here's where people are going to probably debate us a bit on it. Time Ranger technically has a movie debut mecha in Riding Time Ranger Robo, where when the series is watched chronologically, as it chronologically debuted in Time Ranger vs. Go-Go 5, which occurs between episodes 35 and 36 by the series' own timestamping, with it then debuting in series in episode 44 later down the line. However, Time Ranger vs. Go-Go 5 was a direct-to-DVD film, which did not get released until March of 2001, after Gowranger had already started airing, meaning technically Riding Time Ranger Robo actually debuted in the series first. Thus, since it actually has that chronology, we're technically going to count it as a final mecha, thanks to just how that worked as a unifying force for that. And so it's getting skipped, and we are moving immediately on, as soon as the slideshow works, to Gao Knight.
Gao Knight.
The mech so good they actually added it into the SMP Power Animal line.
Yeah. It's, you may not be able to get the image may not be the best, but the thing that makes Gao Knight really work is the accenting of the red colors, plus like the helmet, which is like a traditional knight's helmet, just adds it's like one of those, it shouldn't be like, I can't speak today. For something so simple, it shouldn't be that dramatic of an impact, but yet it is.
Yeah, it completely changes the aesthetic and make it enough. And the fact that this combination is never used with Gao Muscle in any way in the series, also makes the exclusivity to it, especially because the toy version and the model kit version comes with a black Gao elephant. Mm-hmm. So if you're obsessive about the Power Animal collection, there you go. Yeah, it's another peak one.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, just its entire debut fight. Bradley Harris, speaking of Lights of Orion, anyone else miss when the entire team got a power-up and they weren't Red Ranger exclusive? Someone didn't watch King-Ohger for their team limit break power-up attack. Someone didn't watch Boukenger, Sentai, Boukenger the last couple weeks when they got their team jackets as a full team power-up.
Which is actually really sick.
Yeah. Kyoryuger, hey Shinta, are you planning to make a Kamen Kaijin tier list?
I don't think that would.
No.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Like, there's like 25 per series bare minimum in the Heisei era, let alone the new one every week thing they did in the Showa era. Just no.
Yeah, that would be insane.
No, we might end up doing separated forum tier lists for Kamen Rider in the future. We haven't got a solid plan for how we're doing these tier lists. But we just kind of just started this Sentai debate thing because of King-Ohger, as we stated when we started these, about how we wanted to rate all the great mecha of this series and not so great ones.
Yep.
Yeah, so moving on to something that's going to be contentious for people. This is where ToQger is. Because it got stitched when we did the other Karakuri Ball, is because it debuted in Hurricanger's movie.
Really?
Yep.
So, like, one of the most vital components of the Ultimate Combination didn't actually appear in the main series first?
Yeah, the original ToQger was a spaceship of the alien companion / focus character for Hurricanger's Spring movie? Which that was the first debut of Tenrai Senpujin in its resultant combination, and then later on, the support characters for the Hurricanger team recreated it so they could have their own version of Tenrai Senpujin. But basically, the CGI model is the same, despite with some differences in color palette swapping. So it's basically the same thing later on, just them reusing the CGI and suit models from the movie itself.
But at the end of the day, it's just a bird.
Yes, it is a bird which all of them can fly in, so it is acceptable.
It's acceptable. Like, it's not bad, it's just bird.
Mainly because it is a lead-up to Tenrai Senpujin itself.
Which, okay, can we put this in peak?
It is in peak.
Okay.
It is absolutely... I freaking love this thing, and it creates tornadoes as its finishing move. How can you hate that?
And, like, here's the thing about this combination that I love. Is that, like, every aspect of each of the three main mechas are represented in this combination without it detracting from something else. Do you realize how rare that is in just combinations in general? Because either you have two out of the three components overtaking one of them, or, like, it's, like, say, a primarily red-focused mecha, but the other two guys are armaments.
Yeah, and
effectively.
The fact they can still take off the rotor from Tenkujin to use as its own shuriken weapon, that's also great. The only downside is it completely removes the head of the Kabuto mech and the dolphin completely from the combination, and there's no way to store them anywhere, so they just kind of disappear into the ether, which... all things considered isn't the worst thing, but if you want a mech that brings absolutely everything together, it's not here. But I give it points for, like, slimming it down to keep its eye on the prize.
Yeah.
So, this is definitely another peak mecha. And I honestly rate it better than Gao Knight. for a debut. But we're not done with the movie debut mecha for Hurricanger. They had a lot of them. Golrai Senpujin Sword and Shield. I want this as a SMP model kit. Do Hurricanger next, Shokugan. I have my fingers crossed for that.
This man will, like, literally leap over the table and smack him in the face with money.
Yeah, just for the crossover appeal of this.
Media Hood, does anybody know where there are decent Hurricanger subs to watch? Ooh, buddy.
I think that Shushuto. I know there were. I didn't watch the Hurricanger set for Shout Factory, but I heard a lot of people complain about it and said that the Shushuto Scrubs, was the best that that series got.
Yeah. Oh, like do you want to read off Kane's stories comment real? Yeah.
Yeah.
What they were trying to ask was they were asking about, like, not single monsters but monster groups as a whole. So, like,
that's not how a tier list for this would work.
Yeah.
So again, same answer, basically the same question we answered already. No, there are just too many varieties and they don't all count for the same things. So entire factions, that's not how we do these.
Yeah.
Golden Girl, that was the thing. I don't remember that from when I saw that movie. It was in the movie. And yeah, it was even brought up in the Devil May Cry 5 development notes that they based a lot of the team up of Dante, Nero, and V in Devil May Cry on how the teams came together in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Anyways.
Yeah, so
I want to put this guy in hype.
Yeah.
Because while it is a cool, like, concept, at the end of the day, it is just holding Gao Elephant. You know what I mean? It's not. That's not bad, by the way. That's just,
like, this is the kind of thing that should be exploited when you have Sentai team ups. Mm-hmm. In that if you have a combination scheme that is logical, because this you can do this with the DX toys.
Yeah.
You should definitely show it off because it's a thing that exists.
Yeah. So, like, if the movie Mech allows for cross play with the main toy line, then that's also a bonus. Mm-hmm. We also have to consider that. But yeah.
Moving on to the Abaranger list. As soon as the playlist. Oh no, we haven't done this one yet. Tenku Golrai Senpujin.
It debuted in the movie?
Yep. This actually debuted in Hurricanger versus Gaoranger as well. They first attacked with Golrai Senpujin Sword and Shield, and then because the right Kuwagata arm was damaged, they substituted in Tenkujin to... This is the closest we get to a full 6 mecha combination minus the Kuwagata arm.
And honestly, I still like this. I still want to put it in hype, but above Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on the list.
Oh, no. It's right next to the Donbrothers one. Up.
Ah, there it is. Yeah.
Reason being that, I mean, you're not gonna... It's an arm that shoots out twin tornado cannons, like
everything fires.
Yeah, it's like, it's all-out attack. You're gonna be super toast. You want it?
Yeah, the tier listing thing is it's being dumb. There it goes. Yeah. Yeah, it's the alternate to getting the team entirely together. Yeah. Now, because we're not forgetting anything else, why does nothing want to click today? There we go. Abaranger with Killer Abareno. Yes, this debuted in the movie Abaranger Deluxe, and also would make a return appearance in Dekaranger versus Abaranger. It took the movies to get all 5 of the team together in a single mecha combination.
Can I be a little bit controversial for a second?
It's uninspired?
Uninspired. Here's why. Wing Pack plus. But we have to look at the entire combination, and the Surfboard Stegosaurus doesn't really do it for me.
Ironically, they only did the Surfboard Stegosaurus for the first one. In Dekaranger versus Abaranger, they skipped that, and to like completely exclude the Stegosaurus surfboard, and they still did that in that movie.
Yeah, but it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like when you remove the Stegosaurus, it's fire. But it's like when you have a group of friends, and then like that one kid shows up who brings the energy of everything down.
Yeah, it's mainly to exploit the motorization gimmick of everything together, so it would actually crawl across the ground. It's unfortunate that this is basically the Abaranger chariot, because instead of, an actual gigantic Brachiosaurus, even though they had the actual largest Sentai mech in existence in Bakiryu Brachio.
Yeah, like, and Bradley Harris is correct. They really couldn't be more creative with this, and that's what I'm saying. It's
definitely limitations of the toy line on that.
And also, like, for a Stegosaurus, like, I would rather go with a Plesiosaur for a surfboard or a Mosasaur, but Stegosauruses should be like, like a slashing weapon or something.
Yeah. Go-onger, the Ultimate 5-Man combo was movie exclusive. That's stupid. Funny story. This thing technically got in the TV series as well during the Christmas special, but they upgraded it further. That is on the final mecha list.
Yeah.
And it was in the movies primarily because, Abare Killer was a villain or antagonist at the very minimum for a large stretch of the series, thus why they couldn't really team up in the normal conventional sense. So yeah, this is a bit uninspired because of that. The final Operano combination will rank a bit higher. Why are you not working today?
Yeah, but I like Media Hood put it best. I feel like they could have used the Stegozord in some kind of body armor or shield augmentation way.
If they wanted to break it up into multiple pieces, I guess the reason why the Ankylosaurus Zord was like that was because they were trying to maintain a motorized arm function gimmick throughout all of them. With the Stegosaurus forming the core of Killer O, that way you could turn on a button, it'd have that same arm joint rotation gimmick that was in the core of Aberrano, and then that was also in the core of the Abare Max Mecha. I'm forgetting its name off the top of my head.
Yeah, but like basic
Yeah, but basically the rotating arm gimmick is what's hamstrung everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is Bakureno, the movie exclusive that first appeared in Abaranger Deluxe, but then was revived for a second round in episode 48 of Abaranger. Now, part of the reason why I'm forgetting the names of these is we still haven't watched Abaranger. The Shroud Factory subs are literally stolen fan subs from a very poor translator, and literally the best subs the show has ever had is HK subs that are no longer available. There is no good release of Abaranger to date, and especially not the movie. So we forget some names, and most people don't even know that this is a thing that happened.
But I really like this guy.
Yeah,
because like it's not often you get such a not just a blue mecha, but one with like these icy contrasting colors. You know what I mean?
What I like about it is that its standard configuration is that alternate mecha combination for Aberrano, Oji, but it makes it look better because the retool of Triceratops into, I'm forgetting the dinosaur's name for that, but it becomes an actual big shield.
Yeah, it's sort of the reason why Gao God works, because even though it's functionally the same animals, they're remolded and done in such a way that they feel completely different,
Yeah. So this one is definitely, I'd say bottom of hype.
Bottom of hype.
Yeah. Finding it on the list. There it is. Right. Just bare bottom of the page, and
there we go.
And then, because there are a few movie mecha that appear later in the series that can have alternate combinations, here we go, Bakureno Twin Drill. This is a thing that they did.
It's silly.
I like it.
I mean,
I'm putting it right there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like right next to each other. It's I like the Twin Drill thing.
Oh, John 556. It's a Carnotaurus and a Styracosaurus.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I could not remember what they were. But yeah, Abaranger is on the high list for SMPs. I'd want them. Dekaranger. Oh no, wait. I'm doing it again. I'm forgetting the other ones. Senpu Gorai Abareno from Abaranger vs. Hurricanger. It's just a gold version of the slasher blade.
Inspired.
Yeah.
Here's so going forward, I think we're judging these mechs is not just how good they are, but like how are they bringing these two teams together? You know what right? Like, because if all they're doing is just a shiny glowing sword,
I don't think they even released that as a DX toy.
Did they?
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. And it's just
the nice thing about it is it did allow them to do the clone thrust, the clone slash attack, but they didn't really follow it up with much more than that.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like when we were discussing the Gekiranger or like the Hurricanger stuff, like that was a bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it could at least utilize the full effect of their abilities together like that, and they immediately after swapped into Tenku Gorai Senpujin, so it was just the lead and wind up that helped it. Here, not so much. If we're gonna do tier lists past the mecha lists, we're probably going to do a tier list video of all the Sentai movies, simply because we were on this tangent as well. But that's a large time sink to do that tier list, so that would take us a while to actually watch through them all.
Yeah.
And then come back with our thoughts to do a tier list of them, because there's a lot of movies.
Yeah. And honestly, we don't... do you know any plumbers that can do time sinks?
Boo. Okay, Dekaranger for real this time. Dekaranger Robo Full Blast Custom.
Is this the one with like multiple gun?
It's a riot chest armor, a riot shield, and a large cannon for the arm. It's a bunker buster shield because there's a blade coming out of the base.
Oh, okay, then.
So then it to stick it in the ground to keep it mounted, so that then Dekaranger Robo can mount the gigantic cannon on it and use it as a brace.
Then I'm gonna put that in peak because I like big gun.
Yeah. This is an amazing movie exclusive.
Yes, it is. It's like that is like okay. I love this idea that it's not a full upgrade mech, but it changes.
It's their only armament.
Yeah, it's their only real armament. But what it does, it's like it feels like a tool in the arsenal. You know?
Go-onger is all Abareno the ultimate because it uses parts from Max Oja? Yes, it is. Yeah, that's going to be our next list, the final and ultimate combination mecha of Super Sentai series. And then we're on to Magiranger, because I'm not going to mess this up. Dekaranger only had that special movie combination. Okay, Magiranger has Saint Kaiser from Magiranger the movie Bride of Infertia, before it was later seen used in episode 34, ergo why it got into one episode of Mystic Force. Unigolan which is the unicorn mech, can also be combined with Woolzard to form a mech called Brave Kaiser in the toy line. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be getting that at a Woolzard Fire figure if they ever do Magiranger and SMP, which, considering the polls had Magiranger high on the list of desired SMPs, and Magi King is one of the highest selling Sentai DX toys ever, there's a good odd they'll be doing that.
And based on the chat, I believe it.
Yeah. Like they're just going to all peak.
Yeah, no, we gotta listen to the chat on this one.
Yeah. Like I would absolutely love if they actually finally give us a Woolzard Fire figure, because how did they skip doing that as a DX toy? To finally do an actual Brave Kaiser combination.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it worked, like the Magi King sold so well, and as well as this, is that like the various components just disappear into the greater robot. You know,
considering, and that's the funny thing about that people don't remember much about Magiranger is like the toy gimmick is you swap the chest cores to swap who controls each combination, and they never did that much in the TV show beyond just the red mecha taking over like the two horses and dragon. So it was technically advertised, but only with one. They didn't really feature how they could all swap around, probably because, they didn't want to do that for the full suits. But still, it's an underrated gimmick.
Yeah, and DJ Toku's right. The color balance is perfect on this thing.
Oh, it is, especially because it's the rare white, primarily white Sentai Mecha. Usually, the white is a subsidiary color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving on. Magiranger just had that. Boukenger, we already kind of died Tankin as a secondary mecha due to every component mecha debuting in the series first, and they were later used as the alternate mode. And if it was any other series, Boukenger would have used that as the secondary mecha earlier, so we're not counting it as a movie mecha. What we are counting is Burning Legend Zyuohger from Boukenger vs. Super Sentai.
Okay, put that in Pika as well, because, come on, that looks like the most Super Sentai, super robot-ass thing
It's burning fists, a burning chest, and a burning wing pack.
How can I... Listen.
I don't think it was ever released as a toy either.
Which makes it all the more awesome. And it's it is filled with Super Sentai justice.
We're gonna have to downgrade these because we're loading too many into peak tier.
Then if not peak tier, then I want to
put it on top of hype.
Put it on top of hype. I will settle for that.
Yeah, it's just it's not a lot. And by the way, this is another Sentai final mecha / ultimate mecha that we're talking about before it actually shows up in the lists, but Zyuohger is controversial as a final mech because it doesn't do as much as it should.
Yeah.
But we'll leave that for next month when we do the next list.
David Hayden, this is how you do an anniversary power-up.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ Toku. Who let Tony Stark make a mecha? Funny story about Tony Stark making a mecha.
Made in a cave.
He made it in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah. Moving on, Gekiranger. We finally get to talk about the Rin Beasts because they showed up in the movie. They locked us off from being able to put it on previous lists.
And boy, howdy, does this actually work. It takes combining with an evil lion and his chameleon girlfriend sidekick, but it actually freaking works.
Yeah. For the Gekiranger Toja first debuted in their early series movie, Hong Kong Decisive Battle, and then the Rin Beasts outside of the finale and special events only appeared in the movies after.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think this is generally the best of all the armaments, simply because this makes the most sense. Proper shoulder armor, proper chest armor. This is the only time any of the Geki combinations get that chest armor. And the sword makes the most sense.
And I vaguely remember the movie, and this was treated as a big moment because the threat on display was so great that it warranted the two sides having to because remember, this isn't a full Super Sentai team combination. This is the good guys and the bad guys of the series working together to stop a greater threat.
Bonded over their martial arts rivalry, which evolves as the story continues to go on. It's the first piece in the change of the relationship. I'm not a big fan of Gekiranger, but I can definitely get behind that relationship. And it was much better handled in the Sentai than it was in Jungle Fury. There are reasons I think Jungle Fury is the worst of the original 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I would say, okay, I have this. Let's put it in hype, but let's bring down the Twin Trio Bakureno to acceptable.
I can do that on the terms that it's the current low end of hype.
Yeah, if we're trying to do that bell curve thing, I feel if the top gets overloaded, then we have to start
moving stuff down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next is Gekiranger Toja Wolf from Gekiranger vs. Boukenger and Go-onger vs. Gekiranger. This is the actual all-team together one, because Cheetah is replaced by Wolf, meaning you get everything in there but Sai.
And this also runs into the problem that we keep having with Geki Toja as a Megazord. The fact that at no time could everybody be truly represented in the mech, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that poor Yellow gets a leg removed, it'd be different if Cheetah was an extra arm or something like that, but no, everything's in service to the gimmick, and therefore You get what I'm going for.
Yeah,
here,
it's ironically not as cohesive.
Yeah, so I would actually put it in acceptable to me.
Yeah, just to start leveling them down. Relius, really, you think Jungle Fury is worse than Overdrive?
Well, okay, do you want?
Yes. Like, throughout the entire time I did ToQger reviews, I consistently lampshaded that Overdrive was overhated and Jungle Fury was wrongfully excused for the writer's strike because most of Jungle Fury was written before the writer's strike because of how their production timeline worked out.
And actually, I'm gonna back you up on this because I actually remember back in the day, like before I moved out, I sat down and watched Overdrive, and then I watched Jungle Fury. Overdrive is flawed as heck in a lot of places, but there are other aspects that it actually did some amazingly well. Specifically, the character arc of Mac. You know what like that? The foreshadowing on that was like some legitimately great writing.
I have a habit of predicting what's happening in series, either things I will find, oh hey, this would be a cool thing to do, or things I absolutely despise and I hope they won't do. Mac was something I guessed from the start. Yeah. And I felt that was validated with how they handled it. Mm-hmm. I liked how they handled a lot of things in Overdrive because it was consistent with the last few Power Rangers adaptations, how they did character arcs. The problems that came from Overdrive are they went too far with it with this one, with the character dynamic issues. Boukenger was not easy to adapt because it required more Disney funding than they had. And the arcs they wanted to do for the series, they didn't have enough episodes to do them in. So it was all related to production issues, why the series kept being hamstrung. Jungle Fury, it was the writing. And I hated the main characters. I hated the mentor of the series. I'm forgetting his name. He was the Violet Ranger for that. I didn't like how the Spirit Ranger stuff was handled. And I hated how they kept excusing Leo's counterpart in how...
Jared.
Jared. Everything they did to bend over backwards to justify Jared being a jackass, instead of, them actually using his jackassery appropriately to shock him into saying, oh, hey, they've been using me. I'm actually a terrible person. Instead of, saying he's a good person who went through some bad things, but not realizing in doing it that they were justifying him doing all these bad things and making them not so bad, even though they were, and we don't accept that bullshit. We accept it less now than we did when the series was originally airing.
Okay, but as for why I didn't like Jungle Fury, I think I watched Gekiranger, then Jungle Fury, or maybe I watched one of the... maybe I watched them concurrently, I can't remember. But, oh my gosh, that final episode sucks.
Absolutely.
It is the most cringe thing you will ever see. But also, how it handled the power-up arc from going from the base suits to the burning... the white and the red.
Yeah, they're just general boost upper form.
The general boost upper form. How Jungle Fury handled that pales in comparison to the themes that Gekiranger presented, where the team had to bend over backwards and train their butts off in areas that they previously weren't experts in. You know what I mean?
It's like, if you only watch Power Rangers, Jungle Fury on its own might seem like it's better than Overdrive, but put in the fact that a bunch of the character arc stuff they did has gotten generally worse with time and age, plus how Jungle Fury generally mangled the adaptation of Gekiranger more than Operation Overdrive mangled the adaptation of Boukenger. No, this pendulum swings the other way. Jungle Fury is the worst of the original 17 seasons.
Also, the main bad guy's name is Jared. Jared. Come on. Who is going to be afraid of Jared?
I mean, there's the subway guy.
But beyond that, we are afraid of him for different reasons, but it's...
Yeah, so this long tangent, this is not the first time I've discussed this for people, and I know it's been years since I did any sort of Sentai Power Ranger reviews, and since that's been so long, I can understand not catching it, but I have been consistent about this. I hate Jungle Fury the most of the original 17. Now, to be absolutely fair on this...
To be
fair, anything Samurai onwards is worse than Jungle Fury. Everything from Samurai, Megaforce, Dino Charge, Ninja Steel, Beast Morphers, Dino Fury, Cosmic Fury, they're all worse than Jungle Fury. Genuinely, they are that bad. I don't go off on Jungle Fury as much simply because it's been like nearly closing in on 2 decades since it aired, so I'm not as hostile to it as I was now. But my hatred of Jungle Fury actually made it so that I didn't want to watch Gekiranger originally when I started watching the Sentai shows. When I finally got to it, I still wasn't enthused about it because I just stated Jungle Fury that much. It actually took me watching Easy Rider's review of the series himself, when he did it himself, to make me like lighten up on my dislike of it, because it was just doing a lot of things that were not in my interest pool. And that was kind of one of the first series where I had to go to myself, I need to back up, look at this more analytically and say, I don't like this show, but it's generally not for me as my interests don't cross over on it.
So, anyway.
But especially in comparison to, again, how poor of the adaptation of it was, that I can't like it. Anything it does was handled better in previous series. How the school setting for them learning these superpowered martial arts, that was done better in Ninja Storm. Immensely better in Ninja Storm. Especially with the continuing character arcs and development of the cast in that.
But anyways... Tangent rant over. It took a while, but we're done. But yeah, Jungle Fury is one of the ones that gets me hyped up. I generally think Linkara in his review of the series was wrong. If he had more Sentai knowledge, he'd probably say that too. Anyways, moving on to Go-onger with Engine Dice Shogun. Man,
it took me a while to get the mini-plot of this guy. It's actually kind of funny about that. And the fact that there are actually some special actors attached to this set of engine cars, I'm forgetting specifically who they are, but it's just a fun reference all the way around for this guy.
And I really like him.
Yeah, he's from the movie Boon Boon Bang Bang Gekijo Bang.
Yeah,
because it's like onomatopoeia and Go-onger were
hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
It's like it roughly translates to like big action on the big screen or something like.
Yeah, and this is one of the cases of a black and gold Sentai Mecha repaint where they included in the series in some form, and it really just works. I think it's just like acceptable though.
Yeah, it is like
because it comes back to the Go-onger problem where they get better the more you combine them.
Right. Can you imagine what this thing would have looked like if it had like its own G9 or something like?
I mean, they did do a black Gunper O, and then the rest of them would have combined as is. But the increase in black colorization for everything did actually improve the aesthetic a bit.
Mm.
Yeah, so moving on to Shinkenger. No, wait, I did it again.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I did it again. Because it's not on the list. Engine OG7.
Engine OG7.
This is from Go-onger 10 years after.
Oh, they did that.
Yeah, they did it completely in CGI because it wouldn't actually combine legitimately otherwise.
It's silly.
It's silly. This is uninspired.
It's uninspired though. It's another one of those. I appreciate what you're doing.
I like the attempt. You still didn't do well. It is at least one of the rare Sentai anniversary events where they actually got the original. They got the mecha back because in so many of these comeback events they keep missing the mecha.
Yeah, so uninspired.
Yeah, uninspired. Bottom of the list currently. Now it's Shinkenger. Kyoryu Shinkeno from the movie The Fateful War before having a series debut in episode 31.
Oh, the history I have with this thing. Do you want to tell you my... Okay, so we're going to go back into our time machines, people. Way back to, like, when Power Rangers Samurai first... Like, was
Fuck that movie.
Okay.
Fuck that movie.
You're in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so imagine you're out of Power Rangers. You've been out of Power Rangers for a long time, and I was just like, oh, they have Power Rangers on Netflix. This was before Netflix went stupid. This is like when they were actually like good, right? Quote unquote. But anyways, I'm watching through like Samurai on Netflix. And then I get to the crossover with the RPM Red, And one, I was confused. Wait, why is he? Okay, I'm not gonna get into the continuity errors, but the weirdest thing was
and the retcons.
In the retcons, let's not get into that here. It's a completely different discussion. But I thought it was so weird that in the course of this team up, that we suddenly got not only a Power Rangers teams meeting, but then this thing shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, the entire problem is they wanted to do the team-up episode, they wanted to do the team-up movie, but then they forgot, and thus had to get the other movie, that the Kyoryu origami actually starts appearing basically everywhere after Shinkenger's movie. In that they had a bit of lead time from the movie to when it showed up in the series, but the fact that it was properly added into the show and was liberally used after, at least as a weapon power-up, if not the mecha itself, kind of screwed with that timing for that. And it's like, all to generate this retcon in Power Rangers to make Ninja Storm through RPM not canon to the original series. That was the original plan. That was the entire intent of that retcon, but they had to dial it back because Gokaiger.
But anyways, yeah, with Bradley Harris here. How did Samurai turn this thing into a shark is beyond me. But back onto the point itself, I like this thing, but I want to put it at top of acceptable for...
I'll cut you. Mini-plug version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay.
On its own, this is acceptable.
Yeah. Now, the reason being is that it is, at the end of the day, still a big sword and big hat. It is a cool big hat and big sword, but it's one of those toy and functionality-wise, there's not much you can do with it outside of
just have it holding it. Like,
you know
the DX toy is nice in that it can be used both on the mech and also like wielded by a small child, so it has those points.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have a lot more than that.
It doesn't have a lot more going beyond that. Its utility is better showcased on the small scale versus the
yeah. Mm-hmm. This is Samurai Formation 23 from Shinkenger versus Shinkenger versus Go-onger.
Ginmaku Bang.
Yep. It's basically just everybody using the canon mode at the same time.
Also uninspired.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to count it because it's technically counted as a combination.
Right, but it's still uninspired because at the end of the day, it is not, nobody's really combining with anything. It's just a bunch of dudes huddled around a giant cannon.
In fact, it's G9 controlling it instead of Daikai Shinkano, Mogyu Daio, and Engine OG12 together wielding it. It's like the line is the problem. Moving on to Goseiger, Wonder Gosei Great. Starting from the Gosei Wonder machines that combine with everything else, I am repainting the mini-plug. That's why they're on my desk. Because, like, these are some of the worst sticker shock ones. Anyone who wants to go back and collect the Goseiger mini-plug, it's one of the worst ones on that.
But, Mediahead says I put it in clearance personally.
For Wonder Gosei Great? Or the Samurai Formation 23? We actually can make an argument for clearance in 23.
Because, let's do that then.
Yeah. Assuming that's the one they were talking about, not Wonder.
But,
I like Wonder Gosei Greats, though.
Yeah.
It's not hype, but it's definitely acceptable to me.
So let's put it in acceptable and then move, the bird friend down to it.
And we're not quite there yet. We can leave that there.
Okay, so...
But I think it's just, like...
It's okay.
It's middle of acceptable.
Yeah, Media was saying 423, so yeah.
Just had to confirm because of how the chat timing goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the axe. I like the Kabuto left arm. That's just a thing that appeals to me. And I like the changeover for the other mecha so much to the point that I'm actually going to be recoloring a spare set of Gosei machines I got as mini-pla. They were in the whole Wonder set. I haven't built them yet because I wasn't going to repaint them to more match the colors of the alternate mecha. I don't need to do that for the legs because the colors match on that, but the others kind of more require it.
Yep, anyways.
Yeah. And I like that it does stuff different. It's just a bit disappointing that it only appeared twice on Goseiger's early side movie, Epic on a Movie, and then appeared again in episode 38 out of nowhere, so they also got to use it in Megaforce, which was probably the single most unnecessary inclusion of the entire Megaforce series, because I don't think they even did the DX toy for that in the American lines.
Yeah.
And then Ground Hyper Gosei Great, which adds in Gosei Knight and his support mecha into the combination of Hyper Gosei Great. This is technically their true ultimate combination, but since it appears in a movie, we can't really count it. And this is, for people who haven't seen it, this is from Goseiger versus Shinkenger.
I would also say acceptable. Like, I don't feel strongly about it one way or the other.
I do not feel strongly about this one way or the other.
Too many heads for mediahood.
They're all rocket punches, though. They're rocket heads.
True, but how much head is too much head?
I wouldn't know.
Head on apply directly to the forehead.
Yeah. Okay, so Gokaiger. It was already asked. Black Gokaiger would be a Sentai villain mecha. We still have Goren Gokaiger from Gokaiger Goseiger Super Sentai 199 Great Battle, Gokaiger's solo movie, and then the late series use of it.
And it's hype.
Yes.
Do you know, like, taking the Vari Balloon and taking the very first Super Sentai mech and the most recent one, and making it into a wing pack?
Yeah, Gokaiger is the perfect anniversary series. It is not a flawless anniversary series, but it is a perfect anniversary series because it does these things. And if they ever do SMP model kits of the Jet mecha for Go-Ranger and Jock, I want them to be combinable with either Gokaiger's Mini-Pla or for them to do Gokaiger SMP not long after. And yeah, Romanov, I'm right there with you. I'm still mad Goren Gokaiger never got a toy. It should have been. Unless there's like some licensing issues back when it was released as a toy by Popey, there shouldn't be any issues. Like, I'm pretty sure since Bandai has the license for all Super Sentai stuff, unless it's categorized under normal Sentai, but that's a completely different question, so which we wouldn't have an answer to either way. But yeah, this is a hype thing, especially because it's like their flight pack.
Yeah.
Okay. This is another one people probably weren't expecting for the Gokaiger ones, because Gokaiger technically does have another crossover mecha combination in Kanzen Gokaiger and Dole from Gokaiger versus Gavan.
And can we just say, like, how sick this is?
There is a reason. Back when I did Toku reviews and did an opening sequence for those Toku reviews, I would always have it end on the post-finishing move stance of Kanzen Gokaiger on this with Gavan and Gokai Red in the foreground. It's like, it is a perfect shot.
Yeah, and it's just it is levels of silly. You know what I mean?
And it's like, it's another thing I really like about it is it's helping build the universe, like reestablishing that all these other series are together.
Yeah. And also, it's a giant robot surfing on a giant dragon.
Yeah, it's not peak material, but it's definitely freaking hype.
Yep.
A lot of people want an SMP doll that's at least large enough in scale to do that. It would be stupid expensive, though.
DJ Toku starts humming the Gavan theme.
Yeah. We're about to move on to Gobusters, and I'm just saying it right now, we are not counting the Megazord Gokai changes from Gobusters versus Gokaiger, because those mecha all show up on the rest of the list. It would be silly to count a Gokai change as a movie-exclusive mecha in form. But instead we have Rocket Go-Buster-O from one of the movies that does not exist.
But you mean Super Tyson Z?
That is the one that exists. That is the single one that exists.
Oh, are you talking about the sequel?
Dish. But yeah, basically Force pilots the Rabbit Zord because Moon Rabbit. Because
they had to do it.
They had to do it.
Yeah.
And it allows Go-Buster-O to go into space.
Okay.
Medium reviews. Hate it. Yeah.
Dude, hate it. We're going to see the frog, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Let's be funny with this. We can put this one at the top of uninspired since it's just the Forza rockets. But the frog one, we all know where that's going.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Rocket Drill Go-Buster-O.
Is it wrong that I kind of actually like this thing?
It's
a rocket drill kicks with a giant robot.
It's a twin drill kick, which is weird, but I mean...
Real cool here.
They made an entire extra super drill rocket switch, and they never used it in the series, which disappoints me considering Rocket States, I think, would have been an awesome upgrade for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's still uninspired, but it's a bit better.
Yeah, top...
It adds that little bit more of ridiculousness.
Right. It's that, like, we're getting so ridiculous, we're looping into, like, epicness, you know? Mm-hmm.
This will never be a toy, though.
No, never.
Okay, there we go. There's the frog. Go-Buster Kero-O from Go-Busters movie Protect the Anno Tower and episode 44 of the series.
Okay, this is why I hate this thing. I'm a frog.
Really? That's why you...
No. But no, really. It's like... okay. It's... Yeah. For a movie debut mech, a frog feels anticlimactic to me.
I get the point of it in that Marinoid anything was the big specific area that Go-Busters Mecha did not cover. I mean, you have the Rabbit helicopter and the Kawagata jet for flight situations where they would be uncombined. They didn't have any flight mode mecha in general, so something that could actually operate in the bays and seas to fight any Megazord emergence that might come that way to attack, I get that. So I'm not criticizing it. It's just like, there were other Marinoid animals they could have chosen for this.
I wonder what it felt like. Why not crocodile or shark or, you know, like, cause
like, was this supposed to be a stealth crossover with Kiroro Gunso? Because they do a bunch of Toko references in Kiroro Gunso. I actually referenced... No, that was Naruto-chan. The Naruto series. But yeah, they reference Toku stuff in there as well. The Kiroro Gunso series are just weird.
But the point is, like, it's just...
It's overall lame.
It's lame, yeah. It's not like the worst thing we've ever seen, but it's not like...
It's not the most engaging. Like, I have the mini plot for it too, among all the ones I collected when I was doing that big burst, but I've actually got it combined... Well, I would have had it combined with the line I'm actually repainting Lyo for this, but yeah, it's uninspired again, but I think it's like... With the other uninspired right now, they were trying, but it didn't work. Here, it just felt like they could have done something else.
Right.
Over to Kyoryuger.
Oh god, here we go.
Miracle Combination Kyoryuger.
What am I looking at?
You're looking at the Magiranger from Kamen Rider Wizard, giant size, and adopted as a giant kicking foot. It is how they finished off the big bad in Superhero Tyson Z, alongside energy blasts from the combat mecha of the Space Sheriffs. It's like, I unironically love this.
Once again, it's a dinosaur mech kicking a dragon that turned into a foot to rider kick. It's that, like, that,
Listen. If they do Sodo Chronicle Kamen Rider Wizard, which at this point I doubt they'll do because Wizard has this bad reputation in Japan, and I don't really get why, because it's a back to basics series. But if they do the Sodo Chronicle line, I want them to do a Sodo Wizard Dragon, just so it would be large enough to dock onto the mini plot full action Kyoryuger for this specific pose.
And some people are saying peak.
Yeah, it's like, it is that level of badass.
So, I think we should listen to them.
Yeah.
Like, no arguments. I legitimately, like, because
even before this, it was a replacement, even before it formed this combination, it acted as a replacement flight back for Patera Gordon, because Superhero Tyson Z acted as the early bird cameo to set the continuity points for Kyoryu Gold's debut.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they hadn't exactly debuted riding Kyoryuger yet.
Yep.
But speaking of Kyoryuger Mecha, my boy!
Toba Spino! Oh boy, Toba Spino.
So this one actually gets extra points for me because of Death Ryuger being voiced by Mamoru Miyano. Because when you think about it, this is basically just the Gundam Exia.
Yeah, it's... Look, I remember when this thing popped up again in the main series, and I was like, holy sh... They actually brought it back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't...
The fact that it had multiple episode appearances, too.
Right, and also, let's not talk about the legend that is Death Ryuger himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
one of the best Sentai antagonists, like, actually, funny story, because I am getting the Memorial Gabuti Revolver, aka the Red Gabu Revolver, I decided to start tracking down the Zudenshi. I found a almost complete set of them just this last week, and included in them is not just spares of Toba Spino's battery, but the specific Death Ryuger battery that goes for, like, crazy amounts. So yeah, I was behind this thing. And so... If the only way this could have gotten better is if it was all blade based, but that unfortunately, because they already had the blade specialized Zudenryu attached elsewhere, they couldn't exactly do that for this.
Flute boomerangs.
But yeah, this is peak. This is up there as one of the best Sentai movie mecha they ever did, and it gets better. Spino Dio Western.
Yeah, that's right. This movie mech has combinations.
Which we have to count here, even though it debuted in the normal TV series at episode 42.
And I feel like it better complements.
But because we did movies after all the Armament Mecha, we kind of have to count it here for the same reason we had to count Armament forms of Super Mecha, because where else are we going to put it?
Yeah. But it's also peak because gun slashing.
Yeah, but this makes the Gundam Exia, Gundam 00, Gundam 00 Quantao illusion even better, because now you actually have blades in a gun.
Kyoryuger.
Yeah, so I'm rating it about dead even.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the snapping combination system for the Zudenryu were just that good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that doesn't last, because now we have Tatagami riding Kyoryuger from Kyoryuger vs. Gobusters. This would have been better had the Kyoryuger team-up movie not been more focused on the dinosaur teens with the Gobusters shoved in because of contractual obligations.
Clearance.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. Here's why it's clearance. Because in context of this ranking list, all it is the main riding Kyoryuger holding up the Tatagami Ryo's shield. Like... Okay, you couldn't do anything more than that? You couldn't have riding Kyoryuger riding the thing? Like, no, it's just the shield. Like,
yeah, and part of the issue with that is, again, the mini-pla. It's just a wheel with the lion head on it.
Yeah, it's just... Like, that's... Like, in the context of this list, we're looking for the mechs that not only emphasize the nature of the team-up, but... actually give something special to watching this movie. Like,
and it's like, even if you try to do this for the DX toys and not just the mini plot, it can't actually hold it because the functionality just is not there.
Yeah, and it's clearance, and I hate doing that, but that's why this list is...
It's more a factor of they tried, but just like Gobusters Mecha line wasn't really all that great to begin with.
Yeah.
But there's worse stuff. We're probably about to hit the dredges of it with Kyoryuger. You got a movie that does not exist.
Oh, wait. Wasn't there a third super type?
No. There is only one. It is the sequel.
Are you sure about that? Because I...
No. There's only one, and it is the sequel to another movie that does not exist. Speaking of...
I don't know if I can even discuss it. You're just stuck in clearance.
Tokyo Kyoryuger featuring Denliner. Am I wrong?
I want to make an inappropriate joke so bad.
Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. Look at me going, I hate it. I hate it. I hate. Good. Give me every ounce of your rage.
As I will remind people, because it has been a literal decade since I reviewed the movie that does not exist, my review of the movie was longer than the movie itself because there was that just much fucking wrong with it. Now, I will take back some of how I presented my complaints when I did that review a decade ago. It is on Dailymotion, by the way. I'm pretty sure it's still on Dailymotion. It is one of those reviews I could not get back up on YouTube. That is why even though I don't update there, I always keep in the descriptions my links to my Dailymotion page just for archival purposes of those old reviews. But that movie is literally the worst thing Toei has ever made as a crossover event. Like, it has some competitors, mainly still in that Tyson movie line and by the same creative staff. But thematically, talking about how they treated the cast members for that stupid fucking plot, no, it is the absolute worst. It did that. Commodore Tyson did so much damage in Japan that current audiences don't give a shit about Showa Kamen Riders, period. And it's like, that's indefensible, because there was a lot of meritable material in Showa Kamen Rider, and the only thing that is considered worse thematically with regards to the franchise and its ideals and morals is the remake events of the Showa series. The first and next movies, Amazons and Black Sun, those are legitimately considered with less regard. The only exception to that being Hideaki Anno's Shin Kamen Rider movie, but it's just, you do that much damage and everything attached to it turns to shit.
But I love how Toma Column says, the thing that we went from Super Armor Victory March to this thing.
Yeah.
Join a cow, throw it into a wood chipper or the Doom Dimension.
And this was done solely to promote the gimmick of the Legend Sentai and also Denno Resha for ToQger's toy line. They didn't do well.
Okay, no. The Kyoryuger kicking wizard's dragon versus this thing, it's, the Kyoryuger one, that's flirting, this is harassment.
Yeah. Bradley is true. On the Kamen Rider subreddit, fans crap on Showa as being episodic nonsense compared to the mature Heisei Phase 1. And the downright reality of that is half of Heisei Phase 1 is absolute garbage when you compare to the actual writing, instead of when you get away from the edgelord lol murder death kill nonsense.
And it's
the same reason why Amazons is regarded Amazons from 2016, 2017, 2018 is regarded as complete edgelord garbage.
And but getting off that hate train for a second, just okay, on its own it'd be all right, but because of the context surrounding it, it just got off. It's
yeah. It's like, if anyone craps on Showa series, show them Black. Black is the crystallization of everything the Showa writers ever did.
Hell, even like the original Kamen Rider is like, sure there was goofiness, but it's like, we're talking like endearing goofiness.
Yeah, and it's like, I hate the hate for episodic format, because the problem with modern stuff is you have so few episodes that you don't realize that episodic filler episodes is where you get so much goddamn character for cast members that make them endearing and stand the tests of time thematically. There's a reason why the characters lasted so long in people's popular consciousness, that it took completely eviscerating their characters to actually destroy that interest in them. The fact that Showa Kamen Rider merch didn't see a sales drop amongst everything else among the Legend Rider lines until after this specific event is like, that is telling how much damage that did. The fact they made the Kamen Rider Ichigo movie during Ghost as their spring event for that as an outright apology shows how much they fucked up and how much this mech just got attached into that.
Yeah, and before we continue, Go-onger says Toei has damaged Jotaro Ishimori's legacy so much.
Beyond among all so many of their series they did.
Do you mind if I like get on my soapbox for a second? It's just I've seen people all over the internet try to defend the works of Shinichiro Shirakura and like in the stuff he produces as, oh, he actually likes like Kamen Rider, or oh, he actually likes the stuff that he's working on. Well, if he does, it's not reflected in his work, because when you look at anything that guy has touched, it is nothing but disrespectful garbage at like it is just
it's arrogance and ego to a destructive degree, because he is known for micromanaging these things, and when people don't do exactly what he says, he removes them, or they're forced to quit. There's a whole swath of people, both actors, directors, and writers, who want nothing to do with Toei after they were forced to work with Shirakura. Going back to the 90s, it cannot be argued, well, it can be said that he likes these series, but the way he presents that appreciation of them comes off as an abusive relationship.
But this thing is in clearance, and I think, but let's continue.
Safari Gao Robo.
Now, are you ready for something that this is going to be controversial, since we keep hating on every ToQger related thing?
This is actually one of the better ToQger mecha.
This is actually probably the best mech in ToQger, period. And I'm not even joking about that, because the color contrasts are unique. It doesn't just form into a train, it turns into a lion, because it's named, it's Safari Gao, right? And it's actually goes back to that, oh, if I saw this pop in a movie, I'd be like, oh, cool. This is actually something unique and interesting that you can only find in this movie.
By the way, the awkward posing is because this is a clip from the movie that got the background deleted.
Yeah, but the point is, like, I want to actually show some appreciation for how the ToQger line maybe should have handled things. Like, instead of going from train to robot, maybe they should have tried to incorporate some sort of triple changer aspect.
Yeah, so this is a bottom of acceptable.
Bottom of acceptable.
The actual lion mode, then, is actually a bit better.
Yeah, because it actually turns into something else. It is actually imaginative. It's actually creative. It's doing what the base series itself doesn't do, and actually do. You know what I mean? Like.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we get to crap on ToQger again, because Hyper Gigant Imagination Formation.
Also clearance, I'm sorry, Gigant Kyoryuger, because
why?
There is nothing more lamer for your movie than to just have your team up attack just be everybody huddled around a cannon. It's not interesting. Yeah.
It's like, we haven't gotten to talking about Gigant Kyoryuger because final/ultimate mechas, but I will defend this because it is technically a reference to Torine's voice actor, Toshiyuki Morikawa's biggest role, one of his biggest roles, as Tekkaman Blade, because the finishing moves of Tekkaman Blade in all of his forms is Voltekka, as in voltage, electricity. They're batteries. They're discharging all of the Zudenryu's Zudenshi batteries in one massive energy blast. That is a legitimate reference that people don't get. So, taking that, and which is awesome in context, and making it about firing the trains out of the cannon while all the batteries that are supposed to be powering this attack are in the train mecha, which is a combination that doesn't actually work. It's like,
how does that even begin to work?
Why? It's not even an imagination thing. The logistics is just so bad. It's one of the bottom ones for crossover the capabilities of the mecha, because the reason why Victory Mars was so cool is because it legitimately seemed like you could do it, and now they're releasing a set 20 years later that is actually allowing them to do it.
Like, think about it. When your form is so peak that so many decades later, people are still talking about it, and they're making a model kit out of it.
You could actually create mod parts for the original DX toy to Starshine armor from Gingaman to do that on Victory Mars. you can't do this with the batteries.
Exactly.
Or the trains, for that matter.
And thus, clearance.
Clearance. By the way, us talking about this is also why we included Samurai Formation 23, because I went back and looked and, like, to talk about this, we had to start counting those other movie combinations like that for cannon blasts.
And moving on,
Shurikenjin Trideron, from yet another movie that does not exist. It is the Trideron from Kamen Drive, transformed into a miniature robot, don't ask me how it does it, docked into the chair of Shurikenjin.
How?
I don't know.
I have questions. Explain yourself.
Well, you see, time's up. No, seriously, it's like Superhero Tyson GP is just no. There's a reason I stopped reviewing those movies after that. Just I couldn't take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because of how good Drive was and how bad the rest of those fucking years were. Mm-hmm. Shurikenjin Dino from Niningers. God, I hate the naming convention change that screws me up on that movie. Dinosaur Lord's Splendid Ninja Scroll. Controversial opinion. Power Rangers should have gotten that movie for Dimensions in Danger, because how better to do a anniversary movie where you cross over all representatives from all these other series than to bring it back to the start with a dinosaur mecha that has a drill for an attachment for the mecha.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. That's like wasted potential right there.
It's like, I think Dimensions in Danger is bottom tier for Power Rangers team-up things, just because it worsens the retcons. Never double down on a bad creative decision. The Power Rangers team could have fixed what Samurai broke so fucking easily. Instead, even after Megaforce, they kept doubling down. And so, like, I actually think this is the best combination of Shurikenjin, simply because that drill adds so much, even though Dino Maru, that forms the core of it, is just a retool of the Elephant Mecha. Which in and of itself goes to show how the Elephant Mecha was the best of the base ones that got released.
I have to mention Black Century King's comment. I still don't understand what the hell ninjality is.
Nintality.
Nintality.
Ninja Vitality. Basically chakra. Basically internal spirit energy, aka Sentai spirit power. It's their own expression of that. Same way that Kyoryuger uses Brave to channel their spirits, same way ToQger used Imagination to channel their spirits, which again makes ToQger versus Kyoryuger just so fucking stupid.
I like how people in the chat are agreeing with you. It's like that Captain America the Falcon and Winter Soldier meme. No, you may be hating on him, but he's right. You know?
Yeah, it's like he's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah.
It's like I don't feel like out of line that despite their intentions, Shurikenjin consistently across these lists is bottom tier for everything.
We're not hating on it.
We're not hating on it for no reason. Just it does nothing well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all hamstrung by that goddamn chair gimmick. Chair is offline. Woo!
Wee!
But yeah, I'd actually say it's
uninspired.
It's uninspired, but it has intent and purpose behind it that a lot of these others don't.
And we have to be fair here.
And I kind of find it funny that drill, rocket, drill, jetpack and drill, jetpack, Marinoid.
Damn frogs.
Yeah, unfortunately the chat couldn't see me dragging the cursor around it, but yeah, that's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ha-O Tokyu Dio. That is Tokyo in Lion Ha-O with Bison King replaced by I'm forgetting the Orange Ranger's mech from that series.
The point is
Bill Dio. That's it.
Are we going off the rails?
Why would you? Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Because I'm me. Listen, if you're the order, I have to be the chaos.
Luca Baldazzi, hello, did I miss a part? Because I don't see the craziness that was Gaoranger Kentaros, the one with the red lion that became the gigantic confused with Falcon Sword, gets shield and 2 arms. That's their ultimate combination. That was never in a movie. Oh. That's their ultimate mecha that showed up in the Christmas special.
They seem new, but basically we're doing movie mecha.
This is movie and crossover mecha, not final mecha. That's even in the episode. That's even in the video listing. It showed up in Gobusters versus Gokaiger, but that was long after it actually debuted in anything.
Okay, on something more positive, David Hayden, 2 of the worst mechs put together. Good God, end me now.
Yeah, it's bottom of clearance, threat for donate.
Can we just toss it into donate for just on principle?
We have to follow the rules.
Even
as much as we've bent him before, we need to actually have a discussion about that at the end. But yeah, for the person who seems to be new, Gao Kentaros is an ultimate mecha. That's our next list. We have some final mecha in here because they have upgrades in movies that make them qualify for this list, but that's not how we're rating them normally. We have to talk about all of those mecha that should appear early again later without those upgrade parts.
And final mecha, that's going to get wild.
That's going to get wild. It's just like, I've been consistent about these rules for these lists on how they are segregated. That's not one we can touch yet because it's appropriate to another list. Okay. Zyuohger, Condor Wild, from the movie Heart Pounding Circus Panic, and only it actually also showed up in the Zyuohger Return special, which we have not seen yet.
No, we haven't.
I don't think it was subbed by the time we actually cared about Zyuohger.
But
and Zyuohger's final 10 episodes were just so awful. I just didn't care.
I don't really care for it.
It's basic. It's tiger and elephant plus a remodeling of gorilla.
It's okay. It's one
of the more uninspired ones.
Yeah.
And it follows the theme of flight, drill, and marinoid.
For some reason, it's just weird how it works out that way.
Ironically, it's a bit better when we have Wild Tosai King Condor Saber, where the Condor mecha that forms the 0 unit is used as a sword. I am immensely frustrated that I cannot actually do this with the mini-pla.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, I actually like this, but that's because I like Wild Tosai King in general.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Put it up.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
Just give it a bigger sword. That's all we need. And then, Wild Tosai Shuriken King. Because that was a thing. By the way, it's telling about how good this was of the Zyuohger mecha that they didn't do Wild Tosai Dodeka Shuriken King to just do it on a final mecha. No, they had to use the super mecha for that because that's the more agile unit of the pairing. And it's this throws off the balance of Wild Tosai King immensely, and it's just a fucking shuriken.
Yeah, it's
clearance. It's clearance. It's top of clearance, but it's clearance. Okay, Kyoryuger. Cerberus from the movie The Geth Invaders Counterattack. Specifically, this is Cerberus 5679111 or 111 because Cerberus is a no longer existing constellation. I kind of like it. Because they keep the Cerberus gimmick alive, but and it gives some alternate combinations for the Kyoryuger line by giving them another one. But, I actually have the mini ply I have for Kyoryuger. I have Cerberus docked with Ryuteo for their combination.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. It's acceptable. I'm gonna put it lower end of acceptable because it's not the most engaging, and it's Kyoryuger. I think we're just burned out on that.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Lupinranger versus Abaranger. Lupin Rex from N-Film.
Okay, is that like does it have funnels?
Yes, it has attack funnels and a flight cape, because Jackpot Striker is just a red recolor of Good Striker with some extras, and yet it works so surprisingly well.
I actually think it's pretty hype.
Yeah.
Like for once,
it's hype in a while.
Yeah, no, really, it's actually like we're talking like funnels and a flying sword, and just look, it's actually unique. It's something different.
And funny thing, when they tried to use Jackpot Striker with the Magnums, it actually caused the Lupinranger to combine like the Ranger do when they use Good Striker.
I remember that.
And it's like, wow, you actually pulled something funny with that. Which begs the question, if the Ranger ever used Jackpot Striker, would they have cloned themselves? You know, just invert two effects of those guns. Kind of wish that Jackpot Striker had been used more, because it did end up in the show for one episode where it saved the Lupinranger from one of the containment chests.
Yeah, but it's actually good.
It only got used in the film, like, one movie. Ryusoulger.
Oh, boy.
Kishi Ryujin.
Oh, my God, this thing.
This thing is so good.
Unfortunately, Unfortunately,
it died in the movie it debuted in, because it would have been so great to have that come back, but...
Yeah.
It's like... It's a missed opportunity for the series.
But...
Ryusoulger probably has the largest amount of missed opportunities of the Dinosaur Sentai, even though it's still a good series. It's just like... It feels like, across the board, it could have done more than it did.
But, oh, man, this thing. Like, the opening... fight of the Ryusoulger's movie is actually like really dang good.
It's like for the one movie, they made this thing be amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It is peak. I'd actually rate it as good as Spino Dio.
Yeah,
and with the difference being that all of the Ryusoulger mecha, especially for Super Sentai mecha, they are active and agile across the board. Like even among all the do-it-yourself Lego combinations, I don't think there is a single bad Ryusoulger combination. Not one.
Even better, it can actually, the fact that it can actually, like, combine with the other mini-pla.
Yeah, actually, do we want to get ours out for example pieces?
Give me a second. I have to go upstairs.
Yeah, you have to go upstairs. I gotta dig mine out from behind, because it's worth it. Yeah, this will take a moment longer, but, like, even... Look at this. Like, I can't hate this. It's so easy to have fun customizing all this in all different separate ways. Like, I got a shield cannon and a sword setup with this, because the aesthetic just works. The colorization is perfect. The gold elements of it make it that standard black recolor scheme, but especially even when you contrast it with however you combine the main Kyoryuger, I can't hate it. It's absolutely great. The only downside is just they don't allow it to do any of this in the movie because it's around for such a short amount of time.
But look what I did.
Yeah.
Hold on, closer. Careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at my combination. Like, the fact that you can even do this at all with the mini-pla.
Like, the general freedom of the Lego combination scheme for these. Yeah. Did this appear in Dino Fury? No, Power Rangers rarely gets the movie stuff. That's why it's listed as the Sentai Mecha list and not the Ranger Mecha list. DJ ToQger, I'm not a fan of Ryusoulger as an overall, but I love the mecha and how they move.
And that's fair.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot that Ryusoulger could have done better. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. To say it's a bad season, when we finally watched it because of us getting back the Wii stuff from the French side that made people like just leave unmasked, including us. It's like, come back to it. Oh no, this is actually a pretty decent show. It's not going to set the world on fire. It's definitely not the best of the dinosaur Sentai. I consider it better than Zyuohger personally, because I have a lot more problems with the storytelling of Zyuohger, and I don't judge Abaranger harshly, because again, there are no good translations of it. I can't judge it harshly in that regards to make Kyoryuger still the best dinosaur Sentai series. But Ryusoulger's Mecha is peak, top tier, across the board.
But now...
Yeah. Now... Gokaiger / Donbrothers, Don Zenkaio. This is why this is listed as movie and crossover debut mecha, because we have infrequently gotten these special combination mecha in the series themselves. And so we kind of have, because of how Sentai has handled it the last couple years, including Bune Diesel ToQger from the episodes that just debuted around the time we're doing this list. But we don't have Boukenger on this list because Boukenger is been exempted from all these tier lists simply because we're doing it the year that series is running. It's like, if we were to do a final mecha list right now, we'd have to exclude Boukenger Champion Robo because that's debuting next week.
Yeah.
Regards to when we're originally doing this for people who come to watch this later.
DJ Toku. Oh yeah, I forgot this thing existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did the show.
Because it was used twice, and neither of them were in the movies.
And both of them suck.
It was used in Tail End of Zyuohger, and then it was used again, I think, mid-range of Donbrothers, but none in the team-up movies. It's just there. It exists.
And the mini-plot of it sucks.
The mini-plot of it sucks because it has horrible feet, and you can't even sub in the mini-plot designed better standing feet. It is literally the worst designed in the mini-plot, and that's saying something.
Mini-plots are usually good, but no, the mini-plot, all it does is reveal how much this thing sucks.
Yeah. So yeah, this is clearance. This is the reason why I did not put How ToQger, I don't care about the name, automatically donate because that's an active competitor for it. But because this also includes the crossover stuff, Don King-Ohger. Yeah, I can't remember if we counted this already or not, and it's our screw up if we did, because crossover mecha was not a freaking... I thought it was a freaking movie debut for a while, but no, it's actually some of the last episodes of Donbrothers where this showed up, and you get a special DX part in the early release King-Ohger toys for this, but you can also form it in the mini-plug by just unpegging the heads and swapping them around, and it's like, no, the helmet, as Golden Garl just posted in the chat the second I was about to speak this, the helmet ruins it. So yeah, it's uninspired. And yeah, we've only got one left, and you probably know it because it's another one that should have showed up in a movie, but instead showed up in the specials. Or in the crossover events. I think that's the wrong sound effect.
Hold on a second.
1, 2, 3.
Close enough.
I have the Memorial version of this sort of pre-order.
And I have the DX version.
Okay. Entire reason the thing it loses points though, they lost the Kyoryuger suit.
So it's all CGI.
Yeah. Except for that moments where you only see the legs dancing because the actor is actually in the King-Ohger suit during those little bits of it. And it's been confirmed since it debuted, like people thought, oh, they just didn't want to remodel the arms for a short amount of appearances because this was used twice and then never again in King-Ohger just to advertise the full action Kyoryuger. The reality has made itself known since the Go-onger team-up episode of Boukenger that Kyoryuger is currently one of the lost suits of Super Sentai that was lost during the filming of Zenkaiger. In the same way that Shirakura's Tyson movies kept damaging the suits of legacy characters, and they have not been repaired since. In specific, the Kamen Rider double suit, as was first revealed when they had the Summon the Past Riders event in Kamen Rider X8. It's like, there's no debating this. Another reason why we so dislike Shirakura is not just because he disrespects the legacy of other heroes when you actually think about their stories and what he puts them through in the stories he tells with them, but also because of stuff like this, where you keep damaging the props and suits they need to actually try and use these characters again down the line. Possibly in the idea that, oh, we'll never use these again, when the point of legacy characters and series is they can be brought back anytime they want if they have an idea and the actors are available. The fact that they did a Tokyo 10th anniversary event in Boukenger worked into the plot, used as cross-advertisement for the DX Robo Universe line, and the Tokyo suit is still around, tells you that there is something else going on with what happened to it.
Yeah, like, so, because it's so weird. How is it that the Kyoryuger suit and Go-on and Engino suits just vanish into thin air, but somehow Tokyo looks perfectly intact? Like, what?
Yeah.
There's no justice.
Because the use in Zenkaiger was, they summoned every past mecha for a brawl in the early side of the show, and with 2 suits now confirmed missing, both Engino and Kyoryuger, it wonders what else is missing or what else is left. Mm-hmm. And why, like, in some of the other 10-year anniversary specials, they didn't just pull them out for that if they existed before that point.
But anyways.
Yeah. And it's like, Shirakura, just to walk back a bit of what we've said, Shirakura might not be a bad person, but he has done a lot of horrible things when putting them in context to the representation, presentation, and just legacy of all the other series at Toei. He should not be handed these projects, and the entire reason he's not been fired and blacklisted is he's not done anything criminally or professionally wrong. He's just made a bunch of horrible creative decisions that we believe are defined by his own ego. So it's more a case of, why was he hired on and why was he allowed to rise as high in the company as he was allowed to when he doesn't do anything that actually is as profitable as the works of others. And yeah, tenure is part of it, as Bradley Harris says. And Shirakura's been with Kamen Rider since Kuga, so he has a level of seniority at Toei. He didn't do anything with Kuga.
But, like, it's a case...
the one he did stuff on was Agito. But he's been around since Zyuohger. He was the primary architect of Zyuohger, as the most senior producer on Zyuohger was on his way out. Zyuohger actually, as has been revealed more recently, did horribly, and it was another series that almost caused the cancellation of Super Sentai, and would have, had it not been for Power Rangers starting. So, Jetman saving the franchise from cancellation is also a myth. It was actually Power Rangers coming along to give more financial investment and stake in the franchise that actually got it the muscle behind it to actually get it back in working order.
But let's talk about King Kyoryuger itself.
It's like, one second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, with Zyuohger, it's just the storytelling and, like, the focus on the kid characters and just... Ugh.
I did another mini plug recolor.
Yeah. Budding!
Yep. All colors of red, and for the God Papillon, it's more monarch-based, like Mothra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blue Sharky, was it worse than 5-Man? Turbo Ranger was the one that put it on cancellation. 5-Man had a tail end of the season bump in ratings and sales. They were still bad, but there was an increase in interest near the end. Jetman had consistently good standing throughout. Zyuohger was held up solely because of Dragon Ranger Barai. Had they not done everything they did to introduce 6 Rangers with Zyuohger, the show would have tanked. Barai's death was the highest rated episode of Zyuohger. They fell off from there. No one cared about the core 5 in that show.
Yeah, because they all are just flat characters. They're not like...
And thus that explains, in turn, why the Zyuohger stuff adapted into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 was what caused the fandom boom of attention to focus all around Tommy Oliver as the focused on Green Ranger for all of that. That took attention away from the rest of the team for a lot. So yeah, that is how Zyuohger saved itself from being a chopping block series is also why Power Rangers boomed in popularity, ironically. Yeah, there's just so much wrong with Zyuohger that I don't rate it highly among those, but Kyoryuger has the moxie behind it, and it's just a continuing shame that we didn't have the suit and just a mod of the leg parts from the suit to form this as an actual suit instead of bad CGI. In fact, gun to my head, to claim the worst moment of King-Ohger is the fight scenes with King Kyoryuger. So the CGI integration throughout the rest of King-Ohger is actually really good. Your eye is drawn to the characters in the foreground and less to the CGI backgrounds, so they are less intrusive than the other CGI background-heavy Sentai stuff of the last couple of years, specifically with Gokaiger and Donbrothers, where I've seen the fight scenes with the only CGI mecha for Gokaiger and Donbrothers. They're absolutely awful. They do everything wrong, so your attention is always drawn to how uncanny valley those CGI moments are. And to a degree, that's worse than any other CGI that Toei has ever done. So for this, King-Ohger is a series to constantly use CGI sets in the way they did and integrate them was nothing short of astounding and consistent throughout with how well that was handled. And then King Kyoryuger comes in. Yeah, this is where that breaks. And it's like the mech itself isn't entirely the problem. It's the fact it's not a suit.
Yeah, and we can only judge it as it is, and it just looks. It doesn't look right.
And the entire issue is because this is why I brought up the Mini-Pla. The Mini-Pla actually looks pretty decent overall and sells it better than the CGI did.
Yep. But so where are we ranking this guy?
I unfortunately have to say uninspired, because I just can't rate it that highly because it's not used well in the series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have ourselves...
And look at that. We still have our consistent bell curve going on here.
But now here's the question. What is the best of the best? And now before we decide, we're judging the greatest of all time on what merit?
I want to give it to Tenrai Senpujin simply because it has the most appearances out of any movie mecha due to its adoption into the main series.
To the point where you kind of forgot that it debuted in a movie first.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't have the highest number of appearances, but it's definitely better than pretty much everything else where it's a one-off or maybe a three-off in Spinodio's case.
And it's... But, like, for me, like, I also kind of want to give it to a mech that is unique to a, like, this is actually really tough because there's, in Peak, there's a lot of great ones, you know?
Yeah, it's like, the fact that we were able to gush about most of them.
Yeah, and, like, there's, because, oh boy, like, this is tough because I'm kind of with you on Tenrai Senpujin, but I also kind of want to put it like an
actual movie one.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying.
Yeah. So, otherwise you would normally pick Victory Mars in this because it's Victory Mars,
right?
So,
but I'm not specifically because I feel like that's cheating. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I actually kind of want to give it to Kyoryuger simply because of how strong of an outing it had.
I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like in a movie debut list, or a movie crossover debut list, it should go to the mech that was wholly unique to that movie, and it had its own unique thing going on and stuff, and you get where I'm going with.
Yeah, because Miracle Combination isn't getting higher simply because it's a Tyson movie. Mm-hmm. Gao Knights and Full Blast Action, one-off appearances. The rest, Victory Mars, Starshine Armor, that's a one-off. These 4, TV adoptions.
But Kyoryuger, a mech so awesome that it... Kyoryuger, a mech so awesome that it died in the movie it debuted in.
It burned so brightly it burned itself out.
Yeah, and you know how it... Like, for those who haven't seen Ryusoulger's movie, didn't it die because they were trying to stop a meteor?
Asteroid.
An asteroid, sorry.
Different from the one that caused the apocalypse of the dinosaurs. Right. I have to distinguish that. They're apparent. And another advantage to Ryusoulger's movie, there are a bunch of extinction-level event-causing monsters in Super Sentai. It shows up in Go-onger. It shows up in... Not just Super Sentai Kamen. It shows up in Kamen J. It shows up in all these other things. Did I say Kyoryuger? Kyoryuger did that. Ryusoulger allowed for the continuity reconciliation over that, in saying that, well, one impact was what did it in Abaranger also, for that's how their backstory started. Well, one impact was the final nail in the coffin. In the Toei continuity for tokusatsu shows, they made it so that there were multiple impacts in that span of time that caused all these other incidents, and thus reconciling the continuity errors over it.
Yeah, but basically, it has a meteor feat. Or, sorry, I keep wanting to say, asteroid. I don't know why I want to keep saying meteor.
Because so many people get that wrong, in that meteor is smaller space rocks. Comets are ice and rock that travel through space. That's why they get the comet behind it, because the ice melts to create the trail. And asteroids are the big stuff. And it's like, as the movie Armageddon put it, it's the size of Texas.
Yeah,
except it doesn't actually get to Texas size. It's it's skyscraper size and bigger.
Super Sentai mechs, despite having the word super in its name, don't typically do a lot of super robot adjacent things. Not typically. And by super robot, I'm talking like Gurren Lagann, Get a Robo, I'm punching an asteroid, kind of.
Yeah, it's only been, I want to say 3 times, with those times being Victory Mars, Dekaranger SWAT Robo, and Kyoryuger. And the others had advantages where they had armaments, like Victory Mars blew its up with a bomb, Deka SWAT Robo blew it up with its cannons, blew a hole in it with its cannons, and then that wasn't an option for Kyoryuger.
Yeah. So, let's give it up for Ryusoulger for making a GOAT list.
Yeah.
And for clearance. This one's even harder, in my opinion, because there are so many bad ones.
Yeah. And, some of them are comprised of just general series failings. Or they're gimmick failings.
But I think we all know what really has to go into donate.
Yeah, it's like Zyuohger.
I wasn't going to go with that one.
No? It's because, Zyuohger is kind of our consistent whipping boy here.
It is, but Kyoryuger made it to the top because it's something exclusive to the movie it debuted in. And it's something awesome. But the one for the movie that shall not be named.
Oh yeah, the absolute lameness of the toy gimmick.
Because it's exclusive to the movie it debuted in. What it represents sucks, and it's
because everything attached to it just fails.
It fails conceptually. It fails aesthetically.
It's like, it's either that or ToQger in the chair.
Right, but you get where I'm going with this, right? Because, like, we all know ToQger in a chair just sucks on principle. Or, you know, and Zyuohger just sucks on principle. We all know this, but we're talking, like, if I'm going to the big screen and I'm seeing my heroes on the, like, in action, and then I saw that thing, I'm like, I'm not, like, excited. I'm not going, oh man, that was awesome. I'm going, what the frying hell is this? You know?
The ironic thing is, I kind of think that a Den-O ToQger would have worked better as they initially tried to do, and then they shoved Daigo into it. And I think that's part of the reason why Daigo got a bit of a backlash to his character, because he was shoved in there because he was a stupid popular character. He should not have been shoved in there if they were going for the consistent gimmick of Sentai writer team up. But in the movie that's all about Kamen Riders fighting, so why are the ToQger there? Oh, the ToQger are there because they're contractually obligated to be in the spring movie to make it a Tyson movie. But you just had the Gaim and ToQger crossover that basically did nothing of merit for the shows, when you could have been pushing forward their plots. This is the same problem with the Ninninger and Drive team-up that completely failed. But it was something, but it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, you're more welcome to throw something else into donating as well, because...
like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, we're doing this.
Yeah, it's because this is the Kamen Rider Sentai team-up movie that featured Super Sentai in it for some reason, versus the actual Super Sentai Final Mecha.
Right.
It's like, it's consistent with the whipping boys of these lists being Zyuohger, Ninninger, I keep wanting to say Shinkenger because of the goddamn shuriken thing, and ToQger, because just, they're bad across the board.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. But Kyoryuger, no, he's the GOAT. He just... he's the king that stands upon everybody else's shoulders by just, like, come on, asteroid feet.
Asteroid feet. It's like, I'm pretty sure there are only 3. There might have been an...
And the only...
I'm forgetting about, Gojujin doing his super drill against one, too. So, 4. Yeah. But yeah, it's an uncommon feat.
And also, but yeah, not only that, it's just, yeah... I think what we've learned from this list is, for a movie debut Mech and Sentai to be excellent, it needs to be... I don't care if it shows up later in the show. If it shows up later in the show, that's a bonus. But if it has a strong debut in the movie, strong design, but like it's like a star that burns out too quickly. You know what I mean?
Again, for points for Kyoryuger being at the top. It leaves you wanting more.
Exactly. That's the other thing. It makes you wish that it makes you want to go out and buy the toy or something that reminds you how awesome this thing was. You know?
Like once I get some other financial stuff sorted, like I said, I got the Beast batteries. I am tempted to go for the Memorial Ryusoulger stuff.
Yeah.
At some points.
Exactly, and like it's Ryusoulger was, you know what?
Yeah, just like the soul system is, and with the little knight guys isn't the best executed of gimmicks,
but Tomokazu Seki sword.
Tomokazu Seki sword.
Although if you say it all in one word, it sounds like
I mean, we kind of got swords for days. I still gotta finish these.
Can I show them off this?
Yeah. I'm also a fair chunk of the way through building Pyrus Sword from Xenoblade 2. It's just like, it takes some different pieces for construction. And also I gotta fill in the, individual part gaps still. And add some more paint apps to everything, but yeah, it's like, we have swords for days now. So yeah, that's gonna be our list. We're not certain if we'll stream next week. We might not. We'll let you guys know. We will have the final / ultimate mecha list in November, possibly around Thanksgiving. We might shift that to week of my birthday, depending on how things play out, just because it's going to be a month. We have 4 Fridays because we're skipping the first.
I'm just really glad this we went as long as we did with this list.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back when